is Ashley.
And Cindy.
This is Life for Dummies.
Because we're real dumb.
Real dumb, okay?
Real dumb. I think that we should talk about the difference between saying you're sorry and actually making amends.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. Is it?
Okay, so basically in my active addiction, I would cause tons of harm to a lot of people, especially the close people in my life, family members, close friends, etc., roommates. And I would walk around apologizing constantly. I'm sorry about this, I'm sorry about that in the aftermath. And the reality is that I wasn't sorry because I would have started to do something different to give them a different and better result.
Yeah, I was usually just sorry that I got caught, right? Like, oops, someone caught on. I guess I should apologize. That's why I said I was sorry. Because yes, you are very sorry. Like, yes, you are. But, there comes a time where no one's going to believe you anymore. And rightfully so, right? So how are you going to change that?
Yeah, it's like the boy cries wolf, so many times. I apologize so many times. Eventually people just start kicking me out of their lives. And that's what happened for me. Everybody just one by one kicked me out of their life.
Yeah, no one wanted to have anything to do with me anymore. Like, sorry, we would rather lock the door than let you in. Like, that's, that's pretty much what it gets to. So there came a time when someone said to me, like, you know what? If you are truly sorry, then you will stop doing this. And it was like, I had this like light bulb moment, like, wow, you know what? They're not wrong. Like, this is not acceptable. And I keep doing it, saying sorry, thinking that people actually believe me. And no one believes me anymore. I don't even believe myself. It was just like habit at that point. Like, just try to clean up the wreckage a little bit just to make it okay in my mind. And then eventually, like, someone told me about making amends to people.
Yeah, and for me, when somebody told me that, I was like, I can't stop. Honestly, it was like I couldn't. At that point, I was using against my will. And I used against my will for years. Talk about misery.
Yeah.
That's why we talk about this is a disease of addiction, and it's not like I have a moral deficiency, I have a disease. And it grabs hold. That's why we use language like bondage and freedom. We're free today.
Absolutely free. So when was the first time you ever actually made amends to somebody? Can you remember that? And like what was that experience like for you?
Well, I think the first person I made amends to was myself, because I finally surrendered and gave myself a fighting chance at getting clean.
Absolutely. That's great. Yeah, I feel the same way. The first time I actually was able to make amends, it was to myself. And that was just a daily reprieve. Like, I'm just not going to do this anymore just for today. Like, that's it. And that was as simple. And sometimes it's still that simple to this day. But then, like, when it was time to actually, like, go around and try to clean up some of the wreckage of my past, I wasn't allowed to say I'm sorry. Like, that was not allowed to happen. That was not even part of the conversation. Like, what you're going to do now is you are going to tell them exactly what you did wrong. And you are going to let them know that it was not okay and that you are taking the steps necessary in order to not harm anyone or them like this ever again.
That's what I like about this new way of life is I've learned a lot. And one of the things I've learned is how to say sorry correctly today. Like you were just speaking towards it. I have to acknowledge the feeling invoked in that person by my action. It's not just like, oh, hey, I'm sorry and let's move on. It's, no, I'm sorry that this made you feel like that. It's worthy. Your feeling is worthy because my actions were wrong. I truly regret bringing that upon you. And like you said, I'm going to work towards this new behavior so that you don't have to suffer in that way again. It's about the other person more then it's about me today.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful way to let someone know that, you know what, I understand how I made you feel, how my behavior towards you was inappropriate, unacceptable, and that I'm going to try my hardest to not do this again. And it's just a way to not only, and here's the thing, like, it doesn't matter, like, if that person forgives you or not, that's really not a part of the puzzle here. Like, because I've made amends to people where they haven't forgiven me. And you know what? By making amends, it didn't matter what the outcome was. What mattered was how I felt afterwards. So, like, part of it is actually very selfish, because when I'm making these amends, I'm actually working towards that self forgiveness that we have talked about. Like, I am working towards feeling better about who I am on the inside.
Right? It all comes down to freedom. There's a lot of toxic behaviors within relationships that I used to just think were part of the relationship. Like, I would say sorry that I acted this way towards that person so that they would say, "Oh no, it's okay," to make me feel better. And it's not about me anymore. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, life today, I guess it's both, right? It's, again, like two sides of the same coin. Yes, it's about freedom from active addiction, and it's about freedom for me internally and having that peace and that joy, having to remove toxic behaviors and toxic people from my life. And also, I am no longer so self centered and self obsessed that I actually care about the people in my life today. That's what makes it a healthy relationship. And I truly don't want to do things that bring about bad feelings or bad circumstances for those individuals.
Yeah, and that's just such a beautiful, state to remain in, I guess, where you actually are concerned and care about how your behavior affects other people. Like, that is just, when that started to happen for me, that's like, wow. Like, who is this? Who's this person? Because I have not seen her in a very long time. And when I can get out of the way of my own self and realize that, like, what I do affects other people, like my behavior, my words, these things affect other people. And I need to sometimes pause, like we talk about, take a breath, and make sure that, like, when I am interacting with other people, I'm treating them the way that I would like to be treated. And if the answer is no, then I need to check myself.
Yeah, my husband, I was worried about something last night, and he's like, "It's not all about you, honey." And I'm like, "You're so wise." Like, that is very true. I forget that sometimes today. I think that in the past, everything seemed to revolve around me, and so if somebody was off a little bit, somehow it was like my fault and I needed to make them feel better. Or at corporate world, like, if things weren't going too well in the office, like, I projected that it was my fault, even if it had nothing to do with me. And there's so much freedom in being able to step away from the chaos and recognize that, like, hey, I just am one person here, in the mix of life. And life is going to ebb and flow, and most of the time it has nothing to do with me. So if I just kind of sit back and relax, a lot of the times not only am I more peaceful, but the people around me experience more peace as well.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, I just want peace today. And I know I say that a lot, but there was a time when there was nothing peaceful about my life. Like, it was just terrible. Like, I just could not get out of my own way. And today, like, I have a lot of genuine care and concern for others, and how my behavior affects others, and how I can be, you know, lead by example today, and, like, give people hope that, there is a new way to live, that there is a better way to do it where we are free, and that freedom that Ashley keeps talking about is priceless.
Yeah, I wear a sleep ring. It's really good. If you guys have ever heard of the company Aura, they came out with it a couple years ago. And sometimes it's like, okay, what are you doing today where you can allow your brain to have times between load and rest? And That's really important. Like, I talk about it in a joking manner with Cindy a lot, and I've mentioned it to you guys, but sometimes I just stare at a wall. Like, I was finding myself staring at the wall recently this week, and my husband comes home from work and he's like, honey, like, is everything okay? I just am like staring at the wall. And the puppies are just like hanging out on the ground. And I'm like, yeah, everything's totally great. My mind is at rest and I'm not causing any drama or stress in my life today. And sometimes it's just that simple. Like, when Cindy and I talk about getting out of your own way, what that means is that those intrusive thoughts, all that chaotic thinking in our head, getting it out, like not letting it be in our heads anymore and not letting it impact our actions. Because if we let it impact our actions or our thoughts, that's when things start to become chaotic and crazy.
And that's the thing, they're just thoughts, right? What am I doing about that thought? What's the action that I'm going to put behind it to either not act on it or act on it? Because that is a choice, right? It's a choice to either behave in a manner where I am respecting myself and others, or I can just do whatever the heck I want, and then that's usually not helpful for anyone. So, what's the action behind it? What's the thought behind it? And usually, I just have to remind myself that right now, in this very moment, everything is okay. And if you don't do anything, you're going to be okay. Like, you don't have to act on it. And I just am. And that's like really peaceful too.
Yeah, like if you don't know what to do nothing.
Yep.
That's usually the best. Well, it is the best solution. And a lot I heard in the beginning when I first found this way of life, like a lot of the times people would say, "Mind your feet." Right? Because it's like I was off in like la la land in my head and it was driving me crazy. And so I would come out of that and look at my feet. And it was like, it sounds so silly, but it's true. Like I would look down at my feet and see that I was seated in like a safe location. I wasn't in danger. I wasn't killing myself. I wasn't surrounded by drug dealers and chaos. Like mind your feet. You're safe. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, if you have one foot in yesterday and one foot in tomorrow, I was told then you pee all over today, right? Like that's exactly what happens because I just can't stay present. And staying present and staying in the moment is the most beautiful gift you can give yourself because then you're not worried about the past. You're not worried about the future. You're just here right now enjoying everything that your life has to offer.
Right. And if things are stressing you out, those things aren't here. They're not here yet, right? Like if it's something that you're thinking about and you're seated in your couch in your house or at night in your bed and you're falling asleep and you're in this nice surrounding of going to sleep in your bed, like the chaos and the stress in your head, it's what I like to call fantasy. Like it hasn't arrived. All that stuff that you're worrying about, like what's going to happen tomorrow and the kids getting to school or this or that, like my job, and like that's not here, right? It's not happening. So that's where Cindy and I say take a breath. Like give yourself a break.
Yeah. I just, I just am so amazed at the simplicity of my life today. And it's all because I do these things on a daily basis. I surrender. I practice gratitude. I ask for help, not only from others, but from my higher power. I try to remain in the moment just for today. Where are your feet at? You're okay right now. All these things, after time, I continue to do them consistently and on a daily basis. It just becomes this way of life. And it's calm and it's peaceful and it's serene. And I'm no longer trying to kill myself on a daily basis. And if that's all I get, I'm really good with it.
It's a really good result.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We love you. Subscribe, like, keep coming back.
Love you guys.